Now we're going to move on to our mental health cohort. First up is Maya Appa, and representing Maya is IiH Russell, founder and CEO.
So hi everyone, I'm Ivy. I'm the CEO and founder of Maya, starting my day here in California. So I'm really excited to be here. I'm just going to jump into the deck because we don't have much time. So just wanted to highlight or start with what Maya's mission is in terms of to be Maya. At Maya, we're branded as the digital well-being assistant, but technically what it is, a user has a question, they type up their question on their app, and our AI figures it out and matches it to the right expert while understanding the complexity, the urgency, the type of the question. Maya started from a very personal journey, whereby two personal journeys of mine and my mom's. Maya is actually my mom's name. My personal journey when I was pregnant myself, while working in London, I used to visit Bangladesh a lot, and I realized there was lack of space where people could ask questions freely without having the fear of judgment towards, asking a very private questions. And of my mom's, who was coming out of breast cancer, she fell into a bit of a depression cycle where she was ashamed almost to go and see a counselor, again, simply tied to the social stigma and taboo around cultures in Bangladesh and neighboring countries. So that made me start the blog Maya. For a year or so, I continued the blog while I was working, but very soon I realized it was a one-sided dialogue or a conversation. I wanted it to be a two-sided one, and almost on a whim, I placed a call to action box, and that became like the service that we have now, from what it used to be about 10 questions a day to roughly around 3,000-4,000 questions a day. Just quickly going through some of Maya's traction. We right now, from that journey, from that story onwards, we now have about 2 million monthly active users, around, as I said, 4,000, 5,000 consultation every day. We have about 200 on-demand licensed experts in our network in Bangladesh, and slowly more in the network out of Bangladesh as well. Just a little bit of highlight here in terms of why a platform like Maya is needed in countries like Bangladesh, where the patient to doctor ratio is 4,000 to 1. And the psychiatrist to patient ratio is 1 to 1 million. Clearly, there's a lot of need for scale and technology, and obviously having these experts being available on demand. Right now, we have invested a lot of resources towards our natural language processing and AI, and currently close to 45% of our answers are answered via bot with a accuracy around 80 to 85%. Just a quick snapshot on how Maya works. As I've just said, users are asking a question. Here, I just want to highlight a little bit about the demographics of Maya users, which is 60-40 in terms of female, male. We feel great in the sense that even male are asking questions about the women in their lives or about something personal and private about them. So they ask a question through the app or the web. As I said, our AI analyzes the type of the question and assigns it to the experts or bots. For humans, the critical answers, they refer the critical answers, and for bot, they answer the more frequently asked questions. Our AI is actually, the AI answers, and of course the human answers are vetted by human doctors. So that level of quality and assurance and accuracy is that much higher than any standalone tech assertion that is needed. And then the answer is published in the stream. And in the end-to-end process, everything is encrypted, so no one knows who the question is coming from. I just want to highlight just a few questions. We have picked the ones that have come in English. So the majority, the majority of the questions that come are in Bangladesh and English. We only have about 10 or 12% of our queries come in English, but the rest are in Bangladesh and Bangla. So the ones we got in English, one of the examples are, hi, I'm 17 years old. I'm a boy, but for me, it's nice to be a girl. I love to wear clothes, take makeup like girls. I can't accept my body. Only for these reasons, I cut my body with blade few times. Why am I like this? So these are just one of the few examples that we get on a regular basis. You can see other examples there, and happy to share more if anyone is interested. But it just shows how closed or closed these people are, in the sense that when they have questions like this, they cannot go outside, let alone talking to an expert, maybe in many cases, not even to their friends and family. Like I said, men are asking questions on how to come out of drug and substance abuse, feeling very suicidal because they're like the only earner in the family. And of course, on the women's side, we have the whole cycle of, we also get a lot of physical health questions. So from when women are getting pregnant and then they face the postpartum depression, it's a clear cycle. And then they ask all those questions. Even them, they feel very cringed in terms of asking a very personal question about their physical body. So for example, while breastfeeding, all the way to having issues when they're trying to have, sexual relationship with their husband, and so on and so forth. The data that we're seeing on a regular basis, it's a treasure trove of data and trust that we're sitting on. Up until just a few months ago, the growth of Maya has been pretty much organic, and that just shows like the trust that Maya has been able to build. This chart just gives an example of, the type of categories of questions we are receiving. Obviously, as I've said, we get a whole lot of questions on sexual reproductive health, basic sex education, contraception, family planning. And again, a lot of it is to do with the three main barriers I want to highlight. One, for first and foremost for Maya, is the social stigma and the taboo around it. The second was the geographical barrier. On an average, around Bangladesh, people has to walk 7 miles to go see a nurse, let alone a doctor. And then the financial burden, 90% of Bangladesh's healthcare is private. The average wage does not compel to go and visit doctors on a regular basis. It costs them a leg and an arm to go see a doctor. So we feel Maya cuts through those barriers by having access to an app which has access to experts, licensed experts 24/7. So that cuts through these barriers and helps them to ask the question that even if they had access, they wouldn't be able to otherwise ask, just because they just don't feel comfortable asking those questions. Our questions on mental health has increased 300% over the course of 2019. Some of the examples are here, where it says, we are getting a lot of questions on depression, tension, anxiety, frustration, marital relationship, romantic relationship is something that's increasing as well, social issues. These are just few of the categories. We can slice them down even more, and it's really interesting to see these kind of questions coming in, particularly around when we're analyzing the data, like why are they asking this question, which part of Bangladesh they're asking from, at what time of the night or in the day they're asking these questions. So we are more and more, we are working with data scientists and trying to figure out how these questions can be then, or these data can be made use of later on. Just going through the quickly channels of Maya, we have the app service, web. Obviously, we have kiosk, which we are, which is kind of like a tower which we place in garments factories. We're closely working with garments factories right now. And the back end of our service is called Florence, which deals with all the consultations, right around as I just said, 4,000 to 5,000 consultations every day. Transform is, just wanted to highlight this because we feel it's a huge potential and opportunity for us, that we've got some funding from DFID and Unilever's program, but so far Maya has been working online to reach the users, and however, our offline presence wasn't as strong, just so that people is aware of Maya on a more broader scale. So I think the project that we are working on with Transfer Unilever London it will help establish like 10 wellbeing centers in peri-urban areas. We will hire a female facilitator to kind of have the offline online cycle going on between the users and Maya, and then of course hold free health camp and stuff. So we are just lucky that we are able to do this on in the offline space, which we haven't been able to do so far, and trying to reach more users outside of the urban area in Bangladesh. What is our goal in terms of 2020? We want to reach, obviously, since we're seeing a lot more traction on mental health, our whole strategy towards mental health, including experts and their guidance, revisiting our tags category, really to strengthen our mental health strategy. We have an internal target of increasing our mental health capacity and questions. We have onboarded a lot more experts, not just in Bangladesh, but globally. We want to reach about 10 million monthly active users, a couple of million outside of Bangladesh. We've already started working on our market expansion plans for UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Pakistan. And right now we are past the stage of, or kind of still like in the stage of testing our Arabic and Urdu bot, which is going to help exactly how we've launched in Bangladesh, starting with technology, starting with bots, because obviously in places where supply is less than demand, you will need technology to scale. And then in terms of other business areas, we are looking to really work with partners in business. So as Babylon was just saying, that part of our revenue model relies on having business with having a partnership with businesses, such as starting with Garments Factory for Bangladesh, then corporates, and also insurers. We have a direct B2C consumer offering, so whereby anyone can buy a subscription where they get digital prescription. And do want to highlight that digital prescription is something that is getting more and more. And again, at this day and age where we are suffering and in a lockdown position, in a lockdown for the COVID-19, this is becoming more and more essential. So digital prescription helps people to cut through the queue. So often they have to wait around 3 to 4 hours to get to a doctor. So that cuts through. And through the premium subscription, which users have to pay, they get digital, they get an inbound call, they get digital prescription. So that is proving to be very, very gaining a lot of traction. The others are obviously.
I'm sorry, we're getting close to the end of time. Okay. So yeah, if you want to wrap up this slide, we can go to 1 or 2 questions.
Yeah, I mean, I can quickly go through the mental health state, and it's there as well. Like 16% of adults and 18% of children are affected by mental health. So that's approximately about 6 million depressive disorders. And then, as I said, we are trying to expand a lot more of our mental health efforts. And our plans for opportunities outside of Bangladesh we are focusing on Saudi Arabia, Pakistan in 2020. And we feel that, the population and the expat population around Pakistan and Saudi Arabia, and the similar culture in Pakistan is our market research shows it's going to help us to gain traction in those areas. So yeah, we're just really excited to be expanding to these regions and of course grow our user base in Bangladesh. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Ivy. Unfortunately, we don't have a whole lot of time for questions, and a number of them here online that maybe we'll send to you. Maybe we can ask sort of, one is sort of what, how do you get the word out? You said it's been mostly organic. Have you, I guess, what is your marketing strategy?
Yeah, so initially, one of our initial investors has been BRAC, which is one of the largest NGOs, and through them we've done a lot of community service. So BRAC reaches about 2 million women on any given day or any given time. So we were really consciously making strategic partnerships with their groups, so their gender team, their mental health team, their pediatric ward, and all of those. So through them, we were able to spread the word. And then we've also actively worked with universities because we've seen like the majority of our users are really young, 18 to 22, and they're very tech savvy and students. So we've tried to spread the word through the BRAC community and universities first.
Outstanding. Well, thank you, Ivy. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for right now. Like I said, maybe we can send those questions along and post your answers later on.